Hello everybody, weekly reading recap. The very first book I finished this week was The Silver Spike by Glen. Chronologically, it takes place directly following the events of the first trilogy. Silver Spike was my favorite book in this collection. The first two had a different narrator. The Silver Spike didn't go back to the original narrator, really, but it goes back to some people that I very much liked from the first trilogy, and we got to follow them around. Toad Killer Dog, just like I said on last week, one of my favorite characters in this entire series so far. I absolutely love it. I definitely still prefer the original Black Company series to this second one, but this Books of the South is super dope. In between finishing this next one, I started and finished The Stone Door by Leonora Carrington. This is the first book that Leonora wrote. It's, from what I hear, the most dense. I came out of this extraordinarily confused and unsettled. There is a lot of super crazy imagery in this. I'm thinking in January I'll be reading another one of her books. I've got two others. She has a nonfiction, which is a memoir covering her time in a mental asylum during World War II. So that'll be fascinating. After that, I finally managed to bring myself to finish The Black Spider. I'm very happy that this was only 100 pages long because while the imagery is super awesome and fascinating, it's so heavy Christian, like, I don't know if it's metaphor or allegory or just like propaganda or whatever, but it's super heavy Christian woo-woo shit. It's very heavy-handed. I did like it. So on the heels of those NYRBs, I did pick up and start reading, I keep wanting to say Black Company, part 1 of Blackwater, which is called The Flood. The characters are all really well drawn. I'm loving the environment with the southern gothic, swampy, everything going on. In this edition, it's only like 130 pages? Yeah, in this edition, it's just about 135 pages, and I couldn't put this down at all. It really laid good seeds. It laid down a lot of, like, things that you're gonna see that I'm looking forward to seeing the tension build from things and get way bigger, and this is turning out to be pretty good. On the heels of Blackwater Part 1, I picked up the first book of my Philip K. Dick Library of America set. Can you see? You can barely see him right over there. I read The Man in the High Castle. Man, I didn't love it. I wanted to love it, but like the concept is all right. I didn't love any of the characters. The storyline, it's not a book for the story at all. It's kind of built completely around the what if instead of the what does. I gave this one a 2.5 out of 5. I didn't come away from this feeling bad about it, but I didn't feel good about it. I kind of feel completely apathetic and just don't really care all too much for this story. The next books in this are The Three Stigmata of Palmer Eldritch, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, and Ubik. So, I will be working my way through, I believe there's 14 of these. The last book of this is the Valis trilogy. And I also have here separate, I've got Radio Free Albermuth. I'm going to be reading this one right before the Valis trilogy. At some point during next year, I'm going to finish reading all of these. This one came in from the library. I'm super stoked about this. I'm not a huge manga guy. I wish I liked manga more than I do, is a better way to say that. I'm very picky, I get burnt out on it, and I've only had a very select few titles that have caught my attention. Here we have Mieruko-chan, number 11. I found myself on a huge Junji Ito binge, essentially, last year. And this is very influenced by Junji Ito, is I think a good word for it. There's a whole bunch of twisted body horror, and just random psychological shit in here. So there's this girl. Randomly, she starts seeing horrific visions of these monsters and demons and all kinds of evil shit just like perusing around in her normal life. No one else can see them, only she can see them, and her only defense from them is essentially to act like they're not there. It's really slow and drawn out, and more based on the characters and such. The artwork is super cool. Like, look at that shit. As for what I'm reading now, Thus Spoke Zarasthura by Fredrich Nietzsche. Now, I didn't plan on reading this. This one kind of came out of nowhere. The used bookstore down the street from my house that I spent way too much time and money at, they started having a book club, and this is the book that we're going over. A small little philosophy book club talk thing. We're getting together every 2 weeks. We just had our very first one. I can tell it's going to be super interesting because we spoke for 2 hours this Friday and we got through about 3 pages of the prologue. So this is super exciting. I'm not spending all too much time on this. I expect to be in this for a while. We're going to be going over it, going back over it, certain things. We're bebopping around. We're going at a leisurely pace, at our own pace. So it's fun. So what's next? As of now, I am back into Blackwater. I'm in part 2, The Levy. I'm about 30 pages into this. I'm going to read part 2 and 3 of this week. So I'll be halfway through this by the end of the week. I had originally planned to read the first half of this next month, and the second half of it in December. But I read a little bit quicker than I thought, than I expected, and here we are. One thing I do have that I am interested in picking up that I really want to get to, The Passion According to G.H. by Clarice Lispectre. One of the selling points of this book was it has the most shocking line in Brazilian literature. It's about a woman who kills a cockroach in her house and then suffers a mental breakdown. And this book is the mental breakdown, if I'm not mistaken. So, continuing on with the psychological stuff, that'll be fun. Finished 4 or 5 books or so there. Depends if you count the shorty that I read, the Black Spider. So that's what I got going on. Let me know what you guys got going on down in the comments. Bye.